Here we go!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are we doing? Just gonna check my audio stream real quick. I hear the music. Alright, and I hear Mario. Hey, what's going on? I'm BirdDogJon. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Ooh, it's like kind of, picture's kind of blue. I'll figure that out, I guess. Whoa, audio is not that loud. Okay, let's turn me up a bit. Hey, what's going on? I'm BirdDogJon. I guess it's okay. Music was actually really loud to start. I'm only using like 30% volume on my phone, so let me know how it sounds on your side, and we'll get going. Hope you are well. Put my earpiece back in. It is near the end of the week, and so that's exciting. It has been a really busy week, but thankfully very productive. And so BirdDog is trying to address a lot of things all at the same time. And the dev team isn't exceptionally large. It's a handful of guys, and so they are starting to release firmware updates and that sort of thing. You may have seen on the Facebook user group that the 4K SDI update has been released for public consumption. And so that was put up, I think, yesterday. The HDMI one has been up since Tuesday, I think, Tuesday Eastern. So if you have the 4K products, you need to grab those and update your device. The 4K family product. So there's 4K Flex. That's not 4K family. 4K family is 4K HDMI, 4K SDI, and 4K Quad. Quad is the big one, and that one we are still working on, but the other two are officially out there. So be sure you check that out and download those updates and get them on your device. There is a known issue, a known bug with some of the 4K family stuff, and we can help you with that, where you change the IP address to something and then it just shows 1 on the screen. And so we just got to flash the firmware on that for you, and we'll just coordinate a Zoom call or a team viewer session and connect with you real quick and get that done. So not to worry, your unit is not defunct or anything like that. We just want to, we just need to get them out of pre-production mode and into post-production mode, and that is how we're going to do that. Let me open help desk here, see what we've got. Okay, that's a pre-sales question. Okay, whoa, there's like 20 videos attached to that, so I'm not going to watch that one today. Not right now. What is this? Ah, well, I'm not going to bother with that right now. On Tuesday, a couple days ago, my stream was entitled "Just Say No to Static IP Networks," and I didn't catch a whole lot of flack for that one. Although I'm sure people have their preferences. I have received a couple of clients' notices saying, "Well, I use a static network and it works just fine," and that is very possible. You might have a static network that you feel is stable enough to use in production. That's totally up to you. You're welcome to do whatever you want. But if it were up to me, that's not how I would do it. And you know, take that for what it's worth, right? Let me restream here real quick. Got a couple of folks. Somebody's watching on Facebook. And if you're joining us here on Twitch, that's the main show. So thanks for hanging out with us today. Feel free to let me know what you've got going on in your NDI world, or if you have open tickets with the support crew here at BirdDog, and by crew I mean me. Pretty much just handling all of those right now, unless it has something to do with upcoming firmware releases or something like that. Then the dev team in Australia has those tickets. So let me know what you got going on, if you got any issues, or if you have success stories or something like that. We'd love to hear about those as well. And that's always great to kind of follow up with clients and find out what it is that they're doing. So that's one of the key pieces with this stream, is having a chance to connect with folks. Doesn't necessarily have to be NDI, but it's a way for BirdDog to be actually live, and you to actually have somebody to talk to within the company that can help you with stuff, but also explain products and explain processes and thought processes and all that sort of good stuff. So if you're joining me on Facebook, that's mostly those are my personal friends. And so, hey, how's it going? Nice to touch base with you. Let me know that you're out there by hitting a comment on that stream. I'd really appreciate hearing from you if you're watching. And then I have a small following on YouTube as well, and so we're up there on YouTube. I used to do a lot of like product reviews, in particular the ones that had a lot of interest were like access points, wireless access points and stuff like that. So I used to be a network administrator for a mid-sized collegiate, now university, and that was a good gig, and I got exposure to a lot of wireless devices over the 6 years that I worked there, and got exposed to how and how not to install Wi-Fi, because it was basically me. We quoted out brand new system I quoted out a Unify system, and then after about 12 months that was no longer sufficient for our hotel-like dormitories, and so we changed over to a Ruckus system, which 4 years ago was a great choice, and it served us well. So I can actually talk wireless, if that's like a little side hobby that I have. Can also talk about small business network installations, a bunch of stuff like that. That is something that I do and know a little bit about. So now, when it comes to networking and NDI, that's kind of the merriment of the two. However, the problem with that is everybody's going to do it differently, and networks are really unique based on the installer. So if you are installing a network, you're going to have tendencies and likes and dislikes about certain things that I'm not going to share with you. So that's more of an anecdotal conversation where we can talk about NDI installations, but really it's going to come down to what you decide, what your budget is, what your reliability, like whether or not it needs to be a production rock solid all the time, 100%, camera's going to run 24 hours, or whether you are going to be using it in a once a week type of installation where we're going to power up the cameras and just stream for an hour and then power them off. That's very different than if you are running them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you have crews coming in and manipulating the same cameras and that sort of thing. With that being said, we do have installations where people are running like 24-hour TV shows with our P100s in particular, but P100s, P200s, and then obviously the A200, which is more of an outdoor model. And we have clients that are doing live action sports, and we have clients that are doing some pretty high stakes stuff. And so we've got our foot in the realm. We don't install it for them. So that's part of the conversation needs to be had with the client in terms of, okay, how did you achieve this level of success, and what are you using, and who did you employ, and all that good stuff. But yeah, BirdDog cameras are everywhere, man, and we can't keep them in stock. They're selling so fast. So we're trying to get as many into the countries, into the globe as we can, but as fast as manufacturing can make them, they sell. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Got thousands and thousands of cameras out there now. I'm pretty excited about. So one of the little sneaky announcements that are coming up that we haven't really talked about very much is wall plate. And I was reminded of this the other day, just because I was talking with the team in Australia over, just the chat, and they were talking about, gearing up to get those ready to go, and pretty much everything's set, except we want to run a few extra, like actual real-time, real installation type of scenarios. And so when we do that, and they actually are then produced and available for purchase, one of the ideas that the team had was to actually do like an install video and showing how wall plate will really work in, you know, installed situation. And so that's one of the ideas, is to actually show like the drywall and the gang box, the two gang box, and, you know, how do we do this? Where do we take this? You know, what should it look like? How do we update them? How do we get them ready to be used on a daily basis? All that sort of good stuff. And so we're going to try and do a lot more of that. Now, I've been slowly producing videos as time allows, because right now I'm managing the tickets in the help desk. And so anything that comes in, I see first, and then I can, you know, address that. The problem there is, if we get a big flood of tickets, which we have over the past couple of months, and that's people asking questions, people having, you know, unboxing items and wanting to know how to update, and a lot of it is like basic things. So slowly and surely I have been able to implement videos to kind of help mitigate some of this, so that instead of me explaining it 60,000 times, or even typing something out and them having to read it, they can literally just follow along on a video and watch. And so that seems to be working pretty well. The reception on that hasn't been like overwhelmingly positive, but it's been positive, and so we're going to keep pushing in that direction. And it is literally me on OBS recording it, and then I send it to YouTube essentially, and I make those links available in the knowledge database. So if there's like just the other day I did one on BirdDog Neuralizer, and it walks you through the process as to like how that's actually supposed to work in real time. So if you're having issues resetting a camera, you forgot the password, maybe the IP information's wrong, you can use BirdDog Neuralizer. It's like a last resort type of situation, but you can use it, and it'll help you get kind of set up. So that's pretty cool. And that little walkthrough is now available on the knowledge database under the general information, I think. So Neuralizer will also work with 4K family, will work with all the cameras. So there's like 100, 200, A200, A300, P4K, P400. So there's 7 cameras out there right now, 6 or 7. So if you're having issues and you need to go back to square one, Neuralizer might be kind of a last resort option if you really can't find the IP and stuff. Oh, and that reminds me, as one level of support, and we've talked about it here on the channel, we use NDI analysis.exe, which is from NewTek. It's a very command prompt line program, but it does give us the information that we need. And I've done a video tutorial on that process for BirdDog products. So if you are plugging in devices, you thought you were going to do a static network, but now you're going to have to do a DHCP network because you've been listening to me and you realize that that's really the way you should go. But when you plug in devices, they're issued IP addresses and you don't know what they are, NDI analysis is going to answer all those questions for you. So check that out. That's a really helpful tool, and you'll be able to, you know, obviously get a hold of each of your cameras. We can talk about some more of that in terms of like sophistication and that sort of thing, network sophistication, if that's something you want to talk about. But as it is right now, I'll leave it there, and we'll kind of go forward. Alrighty, let's just check the feeds here. It looks like the YouTube, or whoops. Okay, cool. So this one's here. I'm just gonna mute this. Facebook's up and running. Hey John, just saw you on here. I have no idea what you're talking about. My buddy Mike Welter, he's down in Kentucky. Yeah, I know. If you don't know what I'm doing, that's totally fine. Feel free to ask. I wonder why Mike's messages didn't show up on my... It didn't show up in the Restream chat, so I'll keep an eye on Facebook and make sure that if somebody messages me there, I'll be able to see it. Mr. Scott Bennett, how are you? Mr. Perez, that's a long time ago now, man. What is that? 2004? 16 years ago? Cheers, buddy. That is a very long time ago. Good people from my college days. I don't know what you're doing either. Okay, so in general, I'm a support technician for a company out of Australia. That's what I do. And I run a little therapy session for NDI installers because NDI is a way of sending video over your network and using your existing network, or hopefully just network infrastructure, because for the most part, like office buildings and schools and churches and stuff already have network cables installed, so you can install this style of video transport. And I'm the support technician for a company that makes cameras that talk this protocol, or make little devices. What, I got one here? Gosh, what sort of support technician am I? I don't even have one here. Not one that's here we go. So we make like little devices. This is just called a mini, that you put HDMI into it and it converts it into that little video protocol. So I support our BirdDog products, and then I host this little show twice a week to just kind of talk people through stuff and whatever. So that's what I'm up to. Thanks for stopping by, man. It's good to see you. Always catch people cruising on Facebook. That's fun. I am still around, still breathing. Alrighty, I'm gonna jump over to Restream, just see what the word is over there. Everything looks good on there. Go to the YouTube event. Okay, yep, we're looking fine there too, so awesome. I'm gonna just send a message, make sure that my chat box is working. Okay, so it's working for... Yay! Oh. Well, it's working for Twitch. So, alright, I'll keep an eye on Facebook and YouTube, I guess. Sounds complicated. Give Holly a hello as well. Yep, definitely will, Scott. Have a great day at work. All right, so yeah, let me know what you've got going on. I'm gonna restart this Restream thing here. The chat window. Okay, 3 of 3. Let's see. All right, went to YouTube. So it says it went to YouTube, and it did. Yeah, okay. Awesome. So I hope you're doing well. There's not a whole lot of conversation going on just yet, so feel free if you are in the NDI realm. I'm already done my coffee. I'm not drinking that, whatever's left. So I'm done the coffee, so that was quick. Now on to the cold water, and so we can have the conversations if you want. Yeah, happy to go through common issues. Like I said, we've had some firmware updates the past few days, and so feel free to check those out. bird-dog.tv is our website where you can find all of the the current firmware updates. Those are on the support page. So you go to bird-dog.tv, go over to support, go down to firmware updates, and you'll see the latest ones listed there. So if you've got a BirdDog product and it's not working correctly, or it's out of date, or it's brand new, make sure that you update it, so that when you open a help desk ticket, if you need to, that'll be the first thing I'm going to ask you. Yes, I'm running the latest firmware, and then we can kind of go from there. So be sure you grab that. That is super helpful. I had a conversation with a guy the other day over ticketing system who was asking for simultaneous encode decode on 4K SDI and HDMI. That's not a publicized feature. That's not on the website. That's not what it does. And so primarily because there's one input and one output that is configured specifically when the mode is selected, and so we don't have a way to actually make them both work at the same time right now. and it's not something that we've promoted as these devices are going to be able to do. The quad will be able to do 4 in and out, and we're working on that firmware right now. So that is an unfortunate username, so I'm just going to remove this one. Hope things are going well. Let me put that link to the BirdDog website real quick, and you can grab that off the chat if you're here in Twitch. This is actually the firmware site, so I probably should have put that in here. I gotta remember that I'm using Restream. Firmware, boom. So there is the firmware update site. If you are looking for any of that, that would probably be helpful if I included those links. We also do have a self-help knowledge database, so be sure that you check those out, because there are a lot of things that we've already covered and yeah, okay, we'll just we'll wait that out. There are a lot of things that have been covered that you don't have to wait for me to respond on an email or coordinate a meeting or anything like that. You can just get those answers. Like I said, I've done a lot of like self-help videos, and so that is hopefully helpful to you in the long run, where you can get immediate answers instead of having to wait around for somebody to log into the help desk, which is 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. Well, 9 to 4. The 4 o'clock hour, I do still work during the 4 o'clock hour, but in terms of me being available, that's, I'm trying to wrap things up so I can get on with whatever else I have to get on with. So 9 to 4 is usually like when I'm watching tickets, and if I don't have to go ship products or something like that and send them off to UPS. So there's lots to think about there, but we do try and have somebody at the help desk every day of the business week, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Eastern Standard Time. I have noticed that there are a lot of people that like to talk on the phone. This is a strange thing that I don't understand, because I'm not one of those people. However, if you need to have a conversation with a BirdDog employee, depending on where you are, we've got people all over the place, and of course I'm here in the US. If you have pre-sales questions, we have a pre-sales team, 2 or 3 guys that do pre-sales and talk about the products in that capacity. I'm more of on the support side. When you have the products and you have issues with them, we can help you set them up, get them configured, and talk a little bit about how that network is laid out. So that's kind of how that goes. And so if you have technical questions, reach out to me at help@bird-dog.tv, which is here on the site, and shoot me a ticket, or let me know here in the chat, and we can give you a hand with whatever you got going on. Trying to think about what else I got happening here. Yikes. It is getting warm in here. I probably shouldn't have wore this light sweater. Give me just a quick second. I'm gonna open my window, try to get some air in here, because it's starting to heat up and I shouldn't have worn a sweater. Hang on one second. Wait a minute. All right, well, hopefully we don't hear too many cars passing by. My subdivision isn't super noisy, so here's hoping, but we'll go with it from there and try and make it work. You can hear the geese outside. Got a lot of Canadian geese up here in Michigan. Canadians keep sending them down here to make a mess. I can only say that because I am Canadian. All right, let's cover couple of things. Thanks for joining me here today, folks. Appreciate that. Got date created. No. We've got ongoing tickets in the help desk. So if you have a ticket in the help desk, you want to talk about that, that's fine. This is a good place for that. We can kind of walk through one of the ideas with this kind of freebie chat online here is that there is actually a support person here talking and live. None of this is recorded, so you can tell that because of the chat stuff that I have to moderate. But yeah, we are working through tickets, and if you've got one, we're happy to chat with you here, and you know, you can have live contact with me on Twitch, or you can certainly send in a ticket at help@bird-dog.tv and we'll give you a hand. Ugh. Hey, what's going on, Dave? How are you? Hope you're doing well. Okay, for anybody who's wondering, I don't know why I'm getting this question so much, but you need PoE Plus for all the cameras for the P200 and the P100. The A200 and A300 take PoE Plus Max, which is 97 watts. You'll need a Boland injector to do that. It's a very specific wattage. And the P4Ks and the P400s needs 37 watts. And so you're gonna need PoE Plus for that camera on the Switch. So probably wall power at this point, because there's not a ton of Switches that are outputting that sort of wattage. There are some. There are a whole lot more than there are PoE Plus Max, which is the 97 wattage. But you definitely need the correct power. If you plug in power that's too little for the camera, it's not going to work. It's going to behave oddly and give you weird behaviors and that sort of thing. In particular, the P100 and P200 will power up. It'll do its boot up. But when it turns on the lens and you go to move it, it's going to draw more than 15.4 watts and it's going to shut off. So PoE, straight PoE, does not work for BirdDog cameras. The music is too loud. Okay, let's try this. I feel like my voice is like insanely loud on this stream. Yeah, on my phone it sounds pretty even, but I'm happy to turn the music down if that's an issue. Anyway, so pay attention to the PoE specs on the side of the box when you buy a camera, because you have to have the right wattage on the line in order for PoE to work. And it's going to be PoE Plus. I have 3 P200s, and there are so many settings. Not a real camera guy, so it's complicated. Okay, that's not really a question, but yes, there are a lot of settings. It's an entry-level broadcast camera, so you're going to have way more than like a consumer-grade camera, but not as much as like a $10,000 camera, or the 4K cameras are going to have a lot more coloration control and that sort of thing than the entry level cameras. But that's why the entry level camera is what, like 2,800, and the 4K cameras are closer to 5 and up. So do you have a specific question about a setting I can explain? I've got P200s, man. I've got a whole heap of them here, so they hang out in my office all the time. And I boot them up and fix them, and got a fair bit of experience with them at this point. My question is, when I am zoomed all the way out, I set all the lighting for all 3 cameras. I zoom in and the camera goes dark. When I zoom out, it stays dark. Yeah, so that means that your auto exposure response time is set too long, so change it from 48 to 1, which is on the AV tab inside the web UI. And that will allow the iris to move quickly instead of slowly. Because what's going on is as you zoom in, the light exposure is getting less and less. The ambient light that your sensor is using to actually see the image. So it's getting less and less. It's getting darker and darker. And then the iris changes so that it'll actually open up to let more light in, but probably not enough and probably not in time. And then when you zoom back out, now it's got to recalculate and do it again. So the iris isn't moving fast enough. So you need to change the AE response from 48 to 1 and then try your zoom tests again. It will usually go a lot faster. Again, also make sure you're running the latest baseboard and the latest firmware. And depending on what you're using to view them, be sure they're running the latest NDI library as well. So I don't know about Wirecast. I used to have a friend that worked there and he's moved on. So I don't know what stage Wirecast is at, but I've been using OBS and that seems to be updated, and TriCaster is obviously updated because that's new tech, and vMix I guess is updated, although I wouldn't know because I don't use vMix personally. So there it is. That's as good as it gets. I sent you an email. Please respond. You want me to respond live on air to the email? Which email? Your username is not the same as it is on the email, so I'll have to just take a look. I use OBS. Yeah, OBS seems to be pretty stable. I use it every week for a stream. Out of every Sunday I use it, so it should be the same username. Nope, your username does not come up in my help desk system. I'll refresh it, but it doesn't appear that anything is here. There's an update. This doesn't indicate that this is somebody that... Doesn't indicate that it's you, though. You send it to my help desk email? I ordered the controller with the cameras, and it's been almost a month. Do you know if they'll be sending out more controllers anytime soon? It's not that they're not sending out controllers, it's that they can't make them fast enough. So, like, originally when COVID shut everything down, that set all of our pre-orders back like 3 months probably. So they've been cranking them out, trying to fulfill all those orders. So depending on when you ordered it, yeah, I mean they're I don't know what they're doing monthly in terms of, hang on. Oh, whoops. You can see how many they're attempting to get manufactured every month. Yeah, let me see what I've got. Keyboard. This month they're attempting to get more than 600 keyboards created, so hopefully that will fulfill the back order, which is probably it's a fairly specific number, so I suspect that's what it is. But yeah, that's more keyboards than I've ever seen them produce, so hopefully it'll be manufactured this month. I don't have an actual shipping date on here. These are more broad terms, but it says October, so maybe later in the month. If you have sent me a ticket, can you just tell me what the ticket number is and I can look it up? Because the ticket system will auto respawn and send you an actual ticket number in the heading, and then I'll be able to look at it and see what's going on with the issue that you've indicated. I'd be happy to give you a hand. Cool. Alrighty, so like I said, we've had a really productive week at the help desk with support, which has been good. Trying to get down on these tickets. We kind of had a backlog for a while, mainly because we've been waiting for things to get updated, and programming isn't an exact science, and so inventing stuff is also not super fast, which is what these guys are doing. And so as things trickle out, we're able to, send updates and close tickets and get things addressed, but it does take time. So appreciate you guys hanging on. If you do have questions or anything like that, we are working on it. I'm trying to get through all the tickets in the help desk. That's really my goal for this week and next week. So yeah, if you got a ticket in, let me know the number if you have a ticket and we can look at it right now. Or if you can't do that right now, shoot me a reply to the ticket that you have gotten. Because like I said, when you send us a ticket, it will email you and say, yes, we got your ticket. Your ticket number is this. We'll try and get to you in the next couple of days. And then if you hit reply to that email, it will just keep refreshing and moving that ticket up on the queue in terms of, most recently active. So we watch that as latest modified, and we keep an eye on some of that stuff. So it's good to let me know that maybe if you're dead in the water or if you're having issues on something, let me know. We may be waiting on an update though, which is a very common thing, is we're waiting on the bug to be fixed or for an update for the NDI database or something like that. So let me know where you're at. There's really no on-off button. When I shut everything down, it's okay just to shut everything down at one time, including the switch. And is there any sequence for boot up? I just want to make sure I'm doing things safe. So the way I do it is, I kill the power on the switch, which turns off my camera and my mini that I use. And then and the keyboard, technically. But when I boot things up, I turn on the switch. So I'm running an 8-port Unify switch with those two devices. And so I power up the switch, I let that fully boot, and then the power comes on pretty much last in the sequence because it needs to acquire DHCP and all that stuff first. So then I do that, and stream went down. Nope. I don't have any drop frames. 0% drop frames is what I've got. I'm watching it too, so I haven't seen it drop yet. Maybe refresh the browser. So yeah, I just disconnect the switch, and that obviously powers off the camera and the mini and the keyboard. But when I boot up the switch, which then eventually powers on the camera and the keyboard. I let those get fully functional, do their rotation, give them a minute, and then I plug in the keyboard, and then the keyboard will power on. If I haven't changed anything, it will auto acquire the same IP from last week, or I can just hit the search button, find the camera. That's usually pretty simple. So sequence is a little bit important. I find that seems to be pretty consistent when I do it that way, but everybody's got their preferences. One of the things that I saw somebody do is they put the switch on a timer. So they're running a congregation stream, and basically the switch turns on at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning, and it shuts off at like 6 p.m. Sunday night, and that's it. And so when they walk in, everything's up and running, and they turn on their keyboard, and they're off and ready to stream as soon as they're showing up. But you can do it manually, which is what I do. I just physically unplug the switch, and that powers off everything. And then my cameras and my mini aren't running all week, right? Doing nothing. So it saves a little bit in terms of technology half-life, because like all things, eventually things wear out, and you don't want to unnecessarily run things for no reason. So if you're going long stretches between actually doing shows and that sort of thing, then yeah, turning things off is probably a good idea. The on-off button is really a soft off, so it keeps the camera running, keeps the board on. On the P200s, I think they can be woken up again from that state, but the P100s really need to be power cycled. So I just try and make it easy and just shut things off. Gives everything like a fresh start too. So when you show up, you power it on, it does the full boot sequence. Everything's, once it's done, it's ready to go. And it eliminates a lot of like sometimes switches get latency issues, or they get, maybe they have old firmware, or they tried to update and it failed or something like that. And you really need to control the network. So, as an NDI operator. Cool. What is this? Huh. Interesting. Alrighty, well, cool. I'm just trying to think if there's anything that's kind of outstanding that I need to share with you guys. Yeah, I'm super excited about wall plate. I know I've said that a few times, but I really think it's gonna, I won't say revolutionize, but I really do think that it's going to be a major convenience for a lot of people. Because NDI is going to be a lot more accessible all of a sudden. And I'll just jump over to that site real quick, and then I'll pull it up here on the stream. Okay, so wall plate's going to look like this. And it's going to fit in a two gang box, right? So you can use this on old work or new work 2 gang boxes. There will be encoding units, and there will be decoding units. So you may mount this on like a podium as an encoder, and your presenter can take his laptop with HDMI and plug it into this unit. And then the unit will have an EDID on the encode side. So you can tell it will always tell your computer, this needs to be a 1080p signal, or this needs to be 720. You set that inside the wall plate, what the EDID needs to require, and then the computer will see that and will output that as when it does the second monitor, it will output the 1080. So that's super cool, because that will standardize the NDI signal, and then you mount another one of these, or maybe a mini or something like that, up by your projector or up by your presentation or behind the TV that's on the wall, and you can run that as decode. So there are encode units, and then there will be decode units. So you need an encode unit and a decode unit to make this work. So you would maybe mount one of these behind the TV, the decode unit, and then plug in the HDMI to this and plug that into the TV, and Bob's your uncle, and you have an NDI like lecture style lectern that your guy can just plug in and it shows up on the screen. It's all run over PoE Plus. It also means that you can send this signal to multiple destinations, which means like if he's presenting in this room, it could also go somewhere else if he wanted. So let's say this is done in an auditorium, but you have overflow rooms or you have backstage stuff. You can just send, it's an NDI signal. So you can just send the NDI to those locations, and maybe you're capturing his computer and putting it into your production software in your auditorium. And then you've got a P200 that's watching him as well. So you'll notice on wall plate, there are two outputs. So you could do this with one of them could be outputting to a TV and the other one could be outputting to a second monitor, or maybe two TVs next to each other. And one is the production feed of the camera that's following the user, the presenter around, and the other one is showing his PowerPoint. All over IP. You just configure what decoded signal is going out, what output. It's going to be pretty awesome. So really excited about these. You have asked what is the estimated price. I actually haven't looked at the buy site recently, but I'm pretty sure they are, I thought it was $6.95. Maybe they took it off of here. Let's peek at the catalog, see if it's in there. I think our prices are listed in here. Are they listed here? Yeah, prices are here, so yoink! Wall plate. These are softwares. That's the next one I want to talk about. Okay, so here's wall plate. Okay, so I don't know because it's not in the catalog. And I thought they had it on the website, but maybe not. Technical specs. Not listed there. This is basically like reimagining the Zoom room. So this is the idea, although this would probably be tucked behind the TVs for cleanliness. Especially since you're running power behind the TVs too. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. I think they're going to come in black and white like that. Somebody suggested that they wanted customizable wall plates for, like, you can put like school logos and stuff on it. We'd have to get a third party involved to do that, but okay, so they don't have a price listed. I thought they did at one point, but $6.90 MSRP. Phil, see, gotta have a pre-sales guy hanging around. Okay, $6.95. So that's kind of what I thought it was. I don't know why it's not here, but who knows? I think maybe they got bit when they announced the price of a camera and then US tariffs came out. So that might be the issue. But $6.95. Thanks, Phil. Hey, Phil, how are you, man? I see that you just messaged. I just looked down and saw that you messaged me. Sorry. Whoops-a-daisy. Whoops-a-daisy. 2 more updates. Oh boy. 1 new ticket. And is this the ticket? It doesn't say that this is. Doesn't say that this is it. Okay, cool. Cool. Good. I'm glad to hear it, man. I'm sure you're keeping busy over there. So yeah, wall plate's huge, and the other one that is kind of just sneaking around is the SDM module. This thing is really in partnership with going to be in partnership with a couple of TV companies, but the beautiful thing is if the TV has NEC, thanks. If the TV has the SDM module, either of the SDM modules, which is M1 or M2, you can buy this card and slide it in there, and now you have a BirdDog iOS TV that can decode NDI, and you can just select the NDI source that you want, like you're seeing here on the screen, and boom, it shows up. So with the SDM through NEC and NEC, and then with wall plate, we're pretty much entering the AV world, like just bringing it flat out. NDI is going to be the go-to for AV installations, because this is BirdDog one frame encode, and then it's going to be one frame decode. So it's the fastest NDI version that you can get, and it's going to be installed for iMag and a few other things. But we're working with NEC to get these, kind of seamless, and then you just buy the module, slide that in there, and off you go. And the beautiful thing is that NEC will also support the module, so that's pretty cool. Oh, by the way, it also works with the REST API and Crestron control, and so if you want to automate all this stuff with Crestron, have at it. You can use your own little custom panels, Crestron panels and stuff like that, and then just use the REST API. Now, there's a new version of the REST API that's coming out. I don't know when. That's always the question, but I know that there's been a lot of talk about wanting to enable more features on the cameras and such that are currently not enabled on the REST API, and so the guys are looking at that and trying to decide what the 2.0 iteration of REST API is going to look like, and then getting that stuff ready and integrated with firmware so that your REST API stuff can be manipulated with Crestron. And this goes a little bit deeper. It goes into like camera control instead of just presets, but being able to program a large Crestron panel to do specific functions of the actual camera. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out and what's available. But the initial release was done because we were working with Crestron to try and get the cameras to integrate, at least to start, and that's been received really well. And so we want to obviously make it better and do more, and that's the plan. So pretty excited about that. I can't wait to see this in action. I really hope that at like the next trade show I show up at, we're able to showcase this, because I think this is such a cool idea to just have it built into the device, and then backed by a company like NEC, which is awesome. So really excited about that, and about wall plate. I think wall plate's going to be a game changer and an introduction to NDI for a lot of people. The real issue, and what's nice about it, is the nice thing about getting into the AV market is AV installers usually have network technicians on staff. And so now we can really hone NDI into network integration, because these guys really, they do it for a living. Whereas the broadcast realm, most guys are professional broadcasters, and they're camera guys, and they're aces when it comes to like camera control and finesse and coloration and all that, but they're not really network guys. And so in terms of like usability and user interaction and like even the unboxing experience, I think it's just going to get a lot better, because we're going to get a lot more exposure to how people are unboxing and using these products. And so I think it's all positives in terms of like what could potentially happen. I might be very very overwhelmed with tickets, or we might have a whole lot of people getting into the NDI game that weren't in it before. So yeah, it's pretty exciting, pretty good stuff. Juicy, I don't see anything from you, so I would love to, if you are hanging around still, just shoot me another email, or shoot me the ticket number here in the chat, and I can help you with that. I've been kind of waiting for it to show up, but don't see it yet. But anyways, yeah, this super excited. Oh, it's gonna be so cool. So yeah, it'll be good. Alrighty. Hopefully I can get one of those TVs just right there, and that'll be awesome. And then I can push NDI back there, maybe push the show from here to NDI, output NDI, and then show it behind me for latency testing and all that sort of good stuff. So that'd be pretty awesome. I don't plan on it, but it might be a pricey. That might be a pricey install. So who knows? Although I'd be game. I'm in the process of creating a quiet room in the base. Well, I'm not in the process. I'm designing a quiet room in my basement, and I mean, if any CTV, I need to look at the specs for the TVs, but with the SDM modules. Are they technically considered displays? All right, well, I'll Google this and I'll report back on Tuesday. Because I'm pretty nerdy like that. Got a couple of other projects underway in my house that are my weekend handyman projects, so wish me luck. And that reminds me. Here. Basically means I'm going to spend every weekend at Home Depot at least an hour a weekend. maybe 2 visits, who knows. Yeah, who knows. Crap. Where is... Sorry, I'm lost. That's what you want. You want your host lost. Okay, cool. I'm back. All right, so we got 4 or 5 more minutes before this show is kind of unofficially done. I'm free to chat with you for a few minutes if you need a couple minutes with me. Otherwise, I'm going to get back to tickets and try and get under... I have a daily goal, a little personal goal. I won't tell you how many, but past 2 days have been really productive, and so I'm really happy with that, and I'm really looking forward to doing even more today and tomorrow. So if there is something that you need my attention, please update your ticket. Let me know that you're needing a response or where you're at, or if you've done any more testing. All that information is good because we can work towards a solution for you. Sometimes the solution is I got to wait for the firmware to be updated. Sometimes the solution is like, let's try and factory reset it or use Neuralizer or something like that. If, by the way, if there is, if you have discovered something or you wish there was something that was better explained, specifically with BirdDog products, please let me know, because I'm in the habit of creating short little videos, 10-minute videos that basically just show you XYZ. Here's how you do this. Here's why you do this. And so if there's something out there, hey, it would be great if somebody could explain. Shoot me an email, help@bird-dog.tv, or let me know here on the chat. I'm all about making it easy for you and making it easy for the client to understand how to get involved in the NDI game, because it's not supposed to be complex. Okay? When it becomes complex is when we veer from the expected installation, protocol. So when you're building a high performance video network, you're buying switches, you're setting up a network, that sort of stuff is a part of the installation process for NDI. And you're choosing, you're choosing the sports car version of the camera with a BirdDog because it's full NDI, and so it's low latency, high bit rate, which is taxing on the network, and it's running PoE and all that sort of stuff. So if you want to have a good conversation about like how should this be done correctly, it's like an evolving conversation, but I'm happy to have that chat with you. Feel free to come back on Tuesday. We can walk through some of that stuff. But if you're choosing a BirdDog product, you also want to be sure that your network is able to handle it. There are all sorts of switches out there. They range from super cheap to crazy expensive. Doesn't mean that they perform in those manners. That's just price point. There are some certain things that you're going to want to look for. I'm happy to talk you through some of that. but you don't want to go cheap, and you probably don't need the super expensive one either, but you need something that can handle 120 megabits per stream. So keep that in mind. You need lots of power, you need a lot of bandwidth, 1 gigabit minimums, 10 gigabit preferably if you can. If you're going to run fiber, that's possible, which is also like crazy in terms of bandwidth, but there's some drawbacks with fiber, like it's the fiber modules, the LC modules or whatever you're using, tend to not be fast enough to do TCP protocol, and so you need to do something like UDP, and that introduces other issues. So maybe like a multicast network or something like that. There are lots of things to talk about. It's not just a matter of I think we shoot ourselves in the foot when we think that we're just going to take the camera out of the box and plug it in, and everything's just going to work, you know, just going to boot up, and I'm not going to ever have any issues. You really need to own your network. You need to know how it's set up. You need to plan on buying the expensive gas for the expensive sports car, that sort of idea. But if it's properly done, you're going to have video that, you know, unlike most in the industry, most people who buy or who are looking to get into the NDI world are looking at, you know, 10 or 15 different companies. Most of those are doing NDI HX, which is a, you know, high latency, low bit rate, you know, low quality, depending on the lens, you know. So if you've come to BirdDog and you're looking for this product, you've chosen the P200 or the P100, maybe you're looking at a P400 or P4K, maybe you've got a donor or a budget or something, that's great, but we need to be sure that the network is also considered, and the network is half of it. I mean, having a great picture and a great lens is great, but getting the performance out of the vehicle is going to require the correct infrastructure to handle it, and so that's going to take a little bit of finessing and consideration before it all works perfectly for you. So I want to talk to you about that stuff. I want to be sure that you're on the same page. Feel free to reach out to me at help@bird-dog.tv. We can set up a time to chat, or come back on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about some of this stuff, and I'm happy to set an agenda for you know, for the BirdDog Live show and talk you through some of those things. So let me know where you're at, and that's the whole point, is to talk and make sure that, you know, we're here to give you a hand. We're trying hard to get to everybody and trying hard to get our firmwares out and everything updated. It'd be great if we didn't have to write any more firmware. We could just not have to do that and just make new products now. But people are doing crazy things, and they're asking us for new features and that sort of thing. So that is a perpetual conversation as well. And I'm happy to tell you what I know in terms of where the guys are at. You know, I know that Quad is still being worked on basically full bore by the top developers that we have. I know that NDI, 4K SDI and 4K HDMI, there's an update on the website that was just released. So head over to the firmware website, bird-dog.tv, go over to support, hit firmware updates, check that out, update your device, see how it works, report back if you have any issues. Be happy to walk you through and help you with that. And if I can't, I'll get you in touch with somebody who can. All right. It's been real. And it's 12 o'clock. So I got to go back to tickets because that is my life. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I see a handful of people on other platforms, so that's really fun. I'm going to jump over to Facebook. Okay, so we're good there. But thanks for hanging out, guys. I really appreciate you taking time to sit in and hang around with me. So whoops, out of focus. So thanks for that, and we will see you on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk more BirdDog NDI and whatever you got going on. Update your tickets if you haven't. Let me know where you're at. Let me know if you've done any more testing. We're trying to get down on all of them, and so as long as we don't have a big influx of new tickets, I'll be addressing as many of them as I can in the next 48 hours. So cool. Thanks, guys. Have a great end of the week. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you next week on Tuesday. Same time, same place. Take care. Cheers.